Picture this. You're standing before a magnificent mango tree. It's full of fruits, bright yellow fruits. You pluck one, you bite into it. It's fresh and juicy. What would you say? Beautiful tree? Lovely fruit? Has anyone ever said, awesome roots? Yet, you know that it's what's beneath the surface that's the reason for the fruit. Similarly, when you look at the mirror only tells you what it sees on the surface. It never tells you what's beneath the surface. Did you know that's what's beneath the surface is your self-image, your beliefs, your values, the perception you hold of yourself? And it is this self-belief, just like the roots being the reason of the tree, the reason of the fruits, your self-belief is the reason for every result you have in your life, personal, mental, emotional, and even spiritual. So today, we are going to explore the often unexplored area of your internal roots, the beliefs that you have cultivated, the values you have embraced, and the stories you tell yourself. But first, let's go back in time. I was 14 when I first participated, when I was forced to participate in an all-Bombay inter-church elocution competition. I was the youngest and the shortest. They even had to arrange a lectern for me. Against all odds, I won. Now that gave my dad the license to force me for more competitions. In my second competition, I spoke less and danced more. In the third competition, I stumbled my way halfway through the speech and blanked out. But my dad still saw the speaker in me. He forced me for the next time. And the next time that I stepped on stage is one that I will never, ever forget. As I stood on stage, my mind blanked out. I was standing in water. It was mine. Without saying a single word, I stepped off stage. That evening, I gathered all my courage, went to my dad, looked him in the eye and said, "Dad, I can't do this anymore." He never pushed me since. Years rolled by. 25 years later came a moment when my boss asked me to make a presentation to the board of directors. As I stood to make the presentation, my mind traveled back. Fear gripped me. I faltered, fumbled, and finally felt silent. Now don't get me wrong, I knew the topic like the back of my palm, but that old fear still haunted me. That evening, I felt I had hit a roadblock, both personally and professionally. I was browsing through my mails when something popped up. And it said, "Tell me what you want and I will help you get it." That was from Bob Proctor. I read on. And I do not know whether it was out of frustration or hope, but I entered my credit card details and I enrolled for his program. One of the first things I learned in the program was the profound impact that self-image has on our results. I was introduced to Dr. Malcolm Maltz and his teachings on self-image, and to his revolutionary book, Psycho-Cybernetics. Did you know that your self-image is the architect of your life? It could build you, it could break you, It shapes your beliefs. It defines the possibilities or the boundary of your possibilities. It tells you what you can achieve, and it also convinces you what you cannot. It is the lens through which you see the world, and your actions are influenced. Even your emotional state is influenced by your self-image. If your self-image is intact and secure, you feel good. But if your self-image is threatened, then you feel anxious, you feel insecure. It's like the entire foundation of your being is shaken. Dr. Malcolm Maltz also wrote something about psycho-cybernetic, in which he says that psycho refers to the depth of your psyche, and cybernetics is all about the goal-oriented behavior of machines. He talks about two things regarding machines. He said, one, cybernetics helps us understand what really happens, and two, it tells us what is necessary for the goal-oriented behavior of machines. He draws a parallel of machines with humans. Now I know what you're thinking. Come on. We are humans. We are blood and flesh and emotion. It's not right to make that comparison. But for a minute, let's assume that you and I are machines. The state-of-the-art marvel. The creator's greatest masterpiece. And therefore, let's see what really happens in that case. Now, when you have this particular understanding, you first need to understand what the example is, or how cybernetics works. Now, cybernetics works in two ways. Number one, imagine there is a plane that's going from Bangalore to London. It's on an automatic mechanism. It's on autopilot. Now, what happens when it's on autopilot? Do you think it's on course all the time? Not really. It's not on course. It's off course, and it's the cybernetic mechanism that transports the deviation back to the automatic mechanism, and then it comes on course. So the plane is on course, off course, on course, off course, until it reaches its destination. So it may be fair for you to say that the plane fails its way to its destination. Now let's compare that with humans. We also have a cybernetic mechanism. It's your brain and your nervous system. Now your brain and your nervous system tells you what the deviation is. You have a goal, and that is what it's after. It takes you to that final destination, but in order to do that, you need to have a goal. So your brain and your nervous system acts as the cybernetic mechanism to help you reach wherever you are. So now let's look at what really the self-image is. It's your mental code, it's your blueprint, it's how you run your life. Everything that you have experienced to date, your wins, your failures, your losses, your setbacks, is all coded in this mental image. And this is what results in the accomplishments that you get. So friends, when we continue this journey, you may be thinking that it's a game over, because your self-image is going to determine then what can you and I do in order to repair the self-image. Well, if you look at the results you're getting, and if you're not happy with the results, I have good news for you. It is within your power to change your self-image. And how can you do that? Dr. Malcolm Maltz suggests many things, but I particularly enjoyed two of his suggestions. Number one, the magic of imagination. Now he asks us to go into the theater of our mind and play the role of a hero, to see things that you would not have otherwise seen in reality. You become the hero, you play the role of what you want to be doing. So I went into that theater of my mind, and I started looking at myself being able to uplift, inspire, empower people. I was talking to people and getting them to take action so that they could be more, do more, have more, and give more. I know it's a bit spooky, but then you need to suspend disbelief and continue to do that. And the next suggestion that he gives is to use a mental eraser and wipe out everything that has accumulated. So here I was, trying to tell myself a different story. I have something of value to add to the audience. I have something that the audience can take away and work on. So my dear friends, finally, after living for 25 years with a negative self-image, I finally gathered the courage to be able to step on stage. It wasn't easy, but once I started to do that, once I started to say yes to the big and small opportunities, magic began to happen. And finally came the pivotal moment where I took that bold decision to transition from corporate into personal development and academics. Now that was not just a career move, it was a shift in the self-image. So here I am today, standing before you as a testament, not just of personal growth, but as a testament and a living example that our self-image is malleable. It can be redefined, redesigned, remodeled, recalibrated, and when you do that, you are prone to remarkable results. So to conclude, my dear friends, you are all a marvelous creation. And your self-image is like the root of a tree that will help you bear fruit. If you can reshape your self-image, your possibilities are boundless. Your self-image also works as a cybernetic mechanism that takes you to your destination. Now you may say, how do you know? Well, after living in a self-imposed exile for 25 years, to being able to go back and speak internationally and win international speech contests, to be able to speak at schools, colleges, and corporates, and to be able to today give a TEDx talk, which I think I've been reasonably able to navigate. If I can do it, you can. So let's embrace the power of reshaping our self-image, and then see ourselves transform into getting remarkable results. Thank you.